Okay guys, we are back. Here we go. I have done all 4 shocks now on the HR1. Now it is time to get them back on the buggy, get some final assembly done, and time to hit the track. That's the most. Where is the rest of it? I don't need to give you a complete rundown. Oh, here she is. Oh, what a ripper. Have a look at it. All right, now we're just going to put the shocks on. Now remember when we took it apart, I did say some of the lower mounts were in fact left hand or reverse thread. So just be cautious of that when you're working on it. And of course, in the meantime, I've managed to reorganize all my tools. That's one of my favorite things to do to myself midway through a project. Just to enjoy the challenge of looking for tools all over again. Here we go. You guys are probably going, this guy's lost it. This guy's losing it. Yeah, well, wouldn't be the first time. Here we go. Got this one. Now these are nice and freshly rebuilt. I like to put the top mount on first if I can in most scenarios, because I can make sure that in fact the bush is not binding on the shock. Let's have a look here. No, look at that. That's what you want. You want it to fall under its own weight. Come on down. Now I did measure the shock lengths before, but I'm going to throw some tires on this bad boy while we're here. Get it ready to hit the track. I'll show you guys how I check the ride height and camber. And that's probably my most critical tuning points. The only other one being droop. Again, left hand reverse thread. That's why it looked weird when I was doing it up, because it was in fact backwards. Nice new, soon we put the hinge pins on. Complete rebuild. All the O-rings were fine on the shocks. All the shock fluids were fine. The 9-step shock fluids, they were the prototype ones, actually developed really well. That's why we're so proud to have them. Okay, get the top mount on. We've got the new servo in there, the new high servo, which is going to be a little ripper. Make sure I put it in the right hole. And that's what I mean, it does have full adjustable geometry. It's like the best buggies out there. But it went so good, I'm just putting it back exactly where it was when I took it apart. Again, it's one of the key points of leaving some of your key screws in, so you know where they came from and your setup points. And the only thing that I will, when I do the ride height, I like to do the buggy as complete, but I in fact don't have to put the wing on. Nice nylock. It's nice how they do up on the collars of the shock bush, keeping it not only strong but also saving it from binding. And a testament of a top quality buggy is the fact in which you can work on it, enjoy it, and in fact service it, because servicing it is paramount. The more you service it, clean it, and look after it, the faster it will go on track, the longer it will last. And you'll probably gain a lot of skills as well, making you faster on track and more appreciative not to drive it too hard, knowing how much time and effort you put into rebuilding it. roughly I would say a rebuild start to finish on something like this is probably 6 to 8 hours with what we've done. And that's not deliberately trying to go fast or slow. You can do it faster and you can cut corners, you can use power tools, you can polish shock shafts and hinge pins and take a lot longer. You can service bearings or in fact replace them. Okay, look at this. The shocks are on. Beautiful. Got my car stand here. And next thing that I will do in the reassembly is in fact put some wheels on, and for this I have got some Mighty Sweet Racing Super Carbides, and these should be excellent at the local track. These are in a silver compound, and you know what I like most about the Sweet tyres is the quality and the free sticker. They come pre-mounted, pre-glued, like absolutely beautiful gluing, pre-hole punched, everything. You just put these bad boys on and go. This is an all new tread design and carcass. Now when I've got the wheels on, I find it quite, I don't know, therapeutic, because this is when you can actually get a feel for the diffs and the shocks. You can actuate the suspension, get a really good feel for it. Oh yeah, yeah, that is beautiful. Super happy with that. And you're always going to have like a sort of loud, I won't say loud, but compared to tent scale it's quite a loud drivetrain because of the Mod 1 pinion and spur. You got steel on steel there, because these things need to be robust, but it does make them quite, I suppose, noisy. But they sound quite animalistic. Look at that, here we go. So that is the Buggy effectively done. Now, the last checks that I like to carry out on my buggies is in fact the camber. So before I do the camber though, I get the ride height right. And for that one, I start with the drive shafts at the rear practically level, because that gives me a really nice drive feeling and traction. And in this one for that, we are looking at, I'd say a height probably somewhere around 27 mil. What have we got here? You can just hear that tapping away there. That is 29 mil, 28 mil. So we're going to go 28 mil rear and just lower it just a little bit. And then that will indicate, so 28 mil rear. That's going to check that under the C block, which is under the middle there. Still a little bit high. Now, I just measured these, so all the threads, just to the end of the threads on the shock body. And then one turn, and it's something that, there you go, there we go. So I've got exactly 27 mil on the rear, and on the front I want to be carrying a mil less, so let's go for 26 on the front. Again, under the B block, so you don't want to go where the kick up is. just starting exactly where the threads end on the shock bodies, and then we'll have a look from there. Making sure they're both exactly even. Just got to come up a turn, and there we are. And these are the kit springs. I don't know what they are, can't see any coloration on them, but in testing and development, that's exactly the setup we came for. So that is the setup that we're looking at. 27 rear, 26 front, and that's measured under the B block and the C block. Just going to go ahead here and make sure I did in fact double check these ones now that everything's tight. Perfect. And then last check will be the camber. And I know it's really hard to do on the overhead, but since we've got the ride height set, I get this simple little camber gauge here. Going to put that at 3 degrees, and I'm going to completely compress the suspension so the chassis hits the deck. So I take two measurements, one at full compression, and it is actually a little bit over. So I need to adjust that back with my little wrench, which is beside, which has gone walkabout. But yeah, so that's how you do your camber there, and the camber gauge at ride height. Do your ride height first, then your camber. Something like this, I'll probably put like 3 degrees rear, 2 degrees front, and then we are off. Put the wing on, and we are ready to roll. So that is a beautiful rebuild of the HR1 buggy. The only thing left to do is put the beautiful body shell on, put some clips, got to put the stylish little nose piece on. Can't go anywhere without that. Hey, that's like me and my hat. Really looking forward to getting this out on track, launching it to the world. Here we go. Beautiful. We'll get the rear wing on while we're here. The buggies always look funny without a rear wing in my point of view. And we have completely serviced and rebuilt this buggy, and I suggest you do it to yours. And yeah, between every race meeting or every big day at the track is really nice, because these things do cop an absolute hiding, and that doesn't mean that you won't need to repair them in between, but by doing this, you definitely, and by doing it right, you should in fact be protecting yourself against, you know, do not finishes and disappointing days by having worn parts that you haven't noticed because you've given it a full rebuild. That is fantastic. Well, I am Brett from Hearns Hobbies, and this has been servicing and repairing the HR1 buggy. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Now let's go and get it to the track. See you next time, guys.